You're listening to WICR, Iona College Radio.
Every decision I've ever made in my entire life has been wrong. My life is the complete opposite of everything I want it to be.
My name is Gus Ramirez, and today we have Gold Radio, but today is a special day because not only am I not doing it by myself today, but I got a new co-host, Kevin Walsh. Everybody,
what's going on, guys? Gus, thank you for having me. Not a lot of people I feel sometimes want to do a full soccer show. So when you brought the idea to me, I was very interested, and let's get into it.
Yeah, man. So first topic of the day, guys. We have soccer players like I did last week. So first player we have Sebastian Giovinco. Plays for Toronto FC. Best MLS signing of the season. Waz, what do you think about him?
I think Giovinco is the most important signing that has been made in the MLS in a long time. Obviously, the first one was David Beckham. When Beckham came here, it was huge news. It made people realize that the MLS was actually a league, because everyone knows over here in America, soccer is nowhere near as big as it is in the majority of the world. But when Beckham came, it opened the doors for the legends, and that's why you see Robbie Keane, Steven Gerrard, David Villa, Pirlo, all those guys are here now. But what Giovinco is doing is a player who's came here in his prime, left Juventus to come here and play in the MLS, and he is now dominating. In my opinion, would earn MVP rights, and I think that's what's opened the doors for a guy like Giovanni Dos Santos, who's going to come. Chicharito didn't come, but there were talks about that happening, and that's a big deal. And I think you may now see some player. There are always players out there in the world who have talent, but they don't necessarily seem to find a home, and they may start to find a home here in America, which then boosts the MLS that much more. It makes the MLS a very, it starts to make it a more respectable and watchable league.
Yeah, so, what Walsh said, he is in his prime right now. He is a young player still. He's, like you said, pretty much the best signing in the MLS this year. People have kept up with him. He does some incredible stuff on the field. Like, it's just surprising how, a guy from, who came from Juventus, in his prime is here at the MLS. And, it just shows that, MLS isn't the only place, for old retirement guys, to come and, retire.
Absolutely. I mean, that is why I think that he has made his impact is, in all honesty, I think it's the biggest impact since Beckham. I think it is going to be, it could really revolutionize soccer in America as a whole. I mean, the impact that his performances can have is massive. And right now, for the majority of the world, or even America, it may kind of go unnoticed. People may not be as drawn to what he's doing, but you'll see the effect grow with the more people that come. Now, yes, I still think that this is going to be considered somewhat of a League of Legends on their last leg for a little bit. The talks, though. But the thing is, there's talks of even bigger legends coming. The Zlatan Ibrahimovic could potentially come. Yeah. The biggest one is the fact that people think Ronaldo is gonna come,
right.
Which is huge. And then so what you would hope is that if Ronaldo does come before he gets here, you hope that players of the Sebastian Giovinco line make their move here, right. And then you have legitimate quality players who could actually start on top European clubs, right. Playing in the MLS, and then people will be tuned in every time Ronaldo's on, and it'll make a big difference.
Yeah, man. You hit it all there. So, let's move on to the next guy we have. And I think, and you pointed it out to Chicharito or Javier Hernandez. Mm-hmm. Some people might know. Chicharito, as I stated last week, moved to Bayer Leverkusen in the German Bundesliga. Mm-hmm. Debuted his first game this week. Not so great, came on as a sub at the 30th. Didn't really make any goals, and the team actually lost, which is surprising because, from a player of his stats, coming from Manchester United, being Mexico's one of the best strikers there are out there. It's just surprising how coming on, he really didn't get that ball in the net, which is surprising.
Yeah, I think Chicharito is I mean, I honestly, I thought that he would make the MLS move. He's really always seemed to struggle to find a home. When he was at Manchester, even when he's at Mexico, he's a super sub. That's really what he was over in at Real Madrid. He's just a super sub. He's a guy that comes on, gives you some energy, but he's still a very good player. He's someone that can change the game, turn it around if that sub works. But I think that being a super sub or something along those lines is not ideal. I don't think it allows a player to get their full confidence or their full rhythm. Now, Bayer Leverkusen is a team that had a pretty decent year last year in the Bundesliga. They had some people move on to the upper echelon, different clubs. I mean, they had a top 4 finish. But I think that, in all honesty, they're going to probably need Chicharito to play in a big way in order for them to make some moves up to finish that top 4 slot. And I think the only way they're going to get that out of him is starting him.
Right. Well, yeah, that's most definitely, they definitely need to start him. Like you said, he's a great player, always knows where to go, where the ball is. He's just, like you said, just needs to find a place, for home, just so where he could be comfortable. But, let's move on to, the last thing that's on the list. So for some of you who don't know, Landon Donovan retired it was last year, right? Something like that?
Yeah. Last year was his, he won the championship. That's how he went out, Ray Lewis style.
Yeah. So FIFA actually announced, and EA too, that in the new FIFA 16 that, Landon Donovan and Alexi Lalas, for some people who don't know, is also an American player, used to play in the MLS a couple years back. They're actually getting their legend cards in the FIFA video game, which is probably, a well-deserved thing, well-earned, because being a legend on a video game is much respect. So,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know about you personally. I actually play Ultimate Team all the time. Excuse me. I'm a big fan. I love the game. Now, there's a website for those who aren't familiar called Futhead, which I'm not promoting. Sometimes there's foul language, so we're not promoting that. I'm just saying that you can go on there, and that's pretty much where the FIFA Ultimate community lies.
Yeah.
And, the comments on Lalas's card is that he's kind of undeserving and that he's not of this legend stature. But I think that it kind of gets a little blown out of proportion. I'm not saying that he's this all-time world-class defender.
Right.
But I think what EA tried to do is include, the U.S. a bit more. They've never had a legend before in the game. Truthfully, the majority of their players have low-rated cards, which is understandable. We're not Germany, Argentina. We're not those nations. But I think it is nice to see, and I think that it'll maybe get some people a little bit more involved from the U.S.'s side to know that they have some legends there that they could go out and play with and use. The Landon Donovan one, I personally I'm excited about if I were ever able to get him in game. I think that would be a lot of fun because, anyone who's in America knows Landon Donovan because you at least watch the World Cup and you know what he did there. So Donovan, well deserved, love that. Awesome to see him in the game. And just congratulations to Lalas. Deserved, not deserved, doesn't matter. He's in the game, which is good for him, and I think that's awesome.
Yes. Well, yeah, like you said, we never had someone from the United States be an actual legend in the video game, which is, a great step, kind of like honor for United States to be, to have someone who is born in the U.S., be a legend now.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, we don't have that much great stats. We're not Germany. We're not Argentina. But, like you said, just being on the game as a legend is probably like biggest honor that, you could get from EA because, everyone's been playing EA Soccer's FIFA, games.
Oh, it's the biggest game in the
world.
world.
Since '98.
Yeah, it's the biggest game in the world. So, I promise you, there are people who did not know who Lalas was up until his legend card got released.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, yeah.
And which I like because it just makes U.S. soccer maybe a little bit more respected, and it's crazy how a video game could do that. But the power of FIFA, in all honesty, the video game and especially Ultimate Team is ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's cool though that it can kind of perhaps give the USA a little bit more recognition and maybe a little more respect.
Right. Well, like you said, everyone, everyone here in the U.S. is definitely hyped for that, legend card. I'm personally excited also. Don't know how their stats are gonna be. Probably won't be, as big as a legend as
Well, the
Pele.
Pelés or when they have the Maldinis as far as center backs go. Of
yeah.
course, I mean, obviously, yeah. But I actually have both the cards in front of me. They're both 86 rated. Lolasa's card is a good card. It's got good pace, good defending, good physical. Donovan has a really nice card. They put him as a center forward.
Okay, cool.
Even though he kind of finished his career out on the wings, left
Yeah,
mid, left
yeah.
wing. But they put him as a center forward. And he's actually got a really nice card, Landon Donovan. That's a card that's definitely playable. They switched up links too in this year's FIFA, which was nice because it was hard to get legends in a certain team. So basically, if a player a Dempsey and a Donovan would get a strong link as opposed to just a regular link. But I don't know how much people necessarily care about all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Landon Donovan I think is definitely a very playable card. Lalasa, I mean, if you use him, you use him. But
Yeah, true. Well, all right, guys, we're gonna take a quick break. Just come back once the music's over.